All right. Sorry about that. Some technical issues, but we're back and we'll keep pushing. So let me pull back up where we left off. We'll proceed. Had some gems, some jewels being dropped there.
All right, welcome back.
All right, so where we
Right, you have
left
to
off,
pivot. Got to pivot,
yeah, we
Not
gotta adjust with the time and the technical difficulties. But
exactly.
we're back, right? So we left off by explaining to you guys the benefits of agile and why it's important to have it in your business. So let's keep going and let's talk about why agile is a game changer for small businesses. Top five benefits of agile for small businesses: faster delivery, better customer satisfaction, improved efficiency, stronger team collaboration, and more adaptability. Pia touched on this a little bit. Pia, you want to talk about this a little
hmm
more?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to say this is obviously something that you want to achieve for every company, but when you're a small business, I'm going to assume, right? Like most small businesses, you want to expand, right? The goal is to expand. And one of the best ways to do that is becoming more efficient. So you want to make sure that you are more efficient. There's a number of things that Agile will do for you, as I mentioned earlier. If for those who may have missed it, I'm not sure if anyone caught it at all. But one of the things I want to put a lot of emphasis on is reducing and eliminating waste, right? Especially when you're a small business, right? Oftentimes, you want to make sure that there's a budget, there's a tight budget, and I know with every organization, there's always a budget that everyone has to follow. But with a small business, I would assume that it's a little bit more, probably a little bit more of a constraint there. So I would just say that keeping in mind that you want to make sure that you are able to eliminate waste. So Agile will absolutely do that because it'll allow you to focus on making sure that you're allocating your resources and your time and your agendas in the right place, because agile such as scrum framework, it does provide agenda based meetings, right? So there's a process that the teams will follow to make sure that you're not in these meetings and you guys are discussing things and coming out with no action items, right? So you want to make sure that they're agenda based, they're focused, you guys are achieving what you want to achieve after the meetings. All the meetings are delivering value, the teams are able to collaborate with one another. As I mentioned a moment ago, you hire people, you want to make sure that you're utilizing everything that you can from these people, right? Assuming that you trust your team, you want to make sure that we're reducing and removing any silos. So the Scrum framework allows teams to make sure that they're brainstorming and collaborating, also coordinating, right? Oftentimes, when you don't have an actual process put in place, it could definitely interfere with um, how teams are coordinating with one another, right? So you have tools like Jira, which provides you a large or an immense amount of ways for teams to make sure they're keeping track of work and they're keeping track of the workflows and items that are in it. So those are things you want to also take into consideration. Um, yeah, so organization, collaboration, and coordination. Those are some of the things that you want to make sure you highlight. Um, when you're trying to improve your process, especially for small businesses.
Well, let's talk about the traditional way versus the agile approach, which you hit on a few of those already. So the traditional way was long planning cycles, rigid processes, slow decision making, very slow in making decisions, and also fixed goals and scope. How can you have a fixed goal and scope when everything is changing? So now let's go through the agile approach. Short iterative cycles,
hmm
flexible and adaptive, fast feedback loops, and
hmm
then adjust based on market and customer trends or needs. So that's a huge benefit when you think
Yeah.
about providing quality to your customers,
hmm
to your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. Yeah, especially that fast feedback loop. So, as many of you know, if you're working in traditional project management, oftentimes you don't get the feedback right away, right? You've already focused and your team has already contributed time and built something and then realizing, hey, there's some changes that need to be made. So, with Agile, the Scrum framework, or even Kanban for that matter, you don't have to worry about that because you will constantly get that feedback loop from your clients. And the reason is because, especially with Scrum and even with Kanban, the customer gets a chance to utilize the project or the products or the service right away. So you get that feedback much more sooner than you would have with the traditional waterfall project management.
And let's go to some real scenarios where companies have benefited from using Agile. Small businesses, should I say, rather. So, fast delivery, get products and services to market quicker. This is an example of a bakery that uses Agile. So, a local bakery launching a new cupcake flavor. A bakery wants to introduce a new cupcake flavor. Instead of spending months in researching and perfecting the recipe, they use Agile. How are they going to use Agile? Test 3 flavors within the store, like samples. So imagine yourself walking into a bakery that you only get one type of cupcake, but now they want to introduce multiple flavors to see which one you like. The second week, the customer gives feedback and refine the best flavor. So you have like maybe a survey. Which flavor did you like best? Rank them from 1 to 10. And you compile that data to see what you will release next. So officially launching the top voted cupcake. So now you have that feedback from the customer. Oh, I love this cupcake. This was my favorite, or the cupcake was nasty. I did not like the way it tasted. So now you can throw that other cupcake away, the one that everyone liked. You can say, I'm going to release this to the market. And now everyone that comes in will like this cupcake. Well, not everyone, but majority of your customers will like this cupcake because you've already compiled enough data to make that decision. But you did not wait and say, let me keep
Right.
refining this recipe. Let me refine.
Yeah. And even if it's not everyone, the fact of the matter is, there's going to be profit in this investment. Right now, you can focus your time and allocate your resources here because there's going to be a profit.
So the result of doing that, instead of waiting 3 to 6 months, they launched in just 3 weeks and started generating sales immediately. So imagine cutting your time down of a product that you've been ready to release by, what is that? I can't even do the math right now, but 3 weeks instead of 6 months. That is wow. So let's say 3 weeks versus 18 weeks or 24
Efficiency.
weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's another benefit. So let's go to another
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah. So that right there, that was a perfect example of becoming more efficient, eliminating waste. Had they not re-strategized, then obviously it would have more waste would have occurred, right? And that displayed a quick turnaround on efficiency as well.
So now let's focus on the fashion industry. Let's not say a big brand like what's a bigger brand like Gucci or what's another brand? I'm having a brain fart. Pia, what's another large brand?
Ferragamo, we wouldn't go
Yeah,
all like that. You
like
could have
that.
said Nike or Reebok.
Yeah. This is my mom. It's on my mama anyway. But yeah, so we're not going to talk about those industries right now. We're going to talk about a smaller T-shirt shop or a T-shirt printing business, right? So a small fashion brand launches a new T-shirt design, but some customers complain about the fit and fabric. So now you're like, I launched this and they don't like my product. So what do? Instead of waiting for a seasonal release, they quickly adjust, or should we say, become agile. We're gonna put a rainbow over become agile. But so we're gonna become agile with doing this. Collect customer feedback via social media and email. Modify the T-shirt based on feedback. Release an improved version in the next batch. That next batch should be next week.
That's right.
Instead of waiting a long duration and saying, I'm going to release this and not having that customer feedback and wasting money, you can go ahead and release it next week. And they say, oh, you fix it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Wasting resources, and now you're pivoting and you're adjusting accordingly based on what you've learned from your client base.
So the result of doing that is happier customers, higher repeat sales because business listens and adapts. So if you are a business and you're not listening to your customers, you will fail because they're just going to leave. They can tell that you don't care about them.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you're taking too long to listen to your customers, because most people don't have patience. And I can tell you right now, oftentimes there's someone else for them to go to. So you want to make sure, I know we're mentioning pivot and adjust, but you want to do it quickly as possible, right? As quickly as possible. So, because people aren't going to wait. So the faster you can do it to respond back to your customers' needs, the better off and the more successful the outcome would be.
Exactly. Now let's get into one of the top, let's say, jobs I've been seeing. Real estate, real estate, real estate. People want to get into real estate. Either they want to work as a real estate agent, or they want to invest in the real estate, or they want to develop real estate. It's a key to wealth. Let's just be honest. You can benefit from real estate in multiple ways, not just a job, not just a business, but on a personal level as well. So let's talk about real estate. The example that we have here, a real estate team organizing their lead pipeline. That's the scenario. A real estate agency had too many unqualified leads, wasted time chasing people who weren't serious about buying. You can go 2 weeks reaching out to the wrong type of customer, trying to sell the wrong type of house, and now your commission is not coming in, because we know real estate agents, yes, they get paid, but they work more so off of commission. So now with you reaching out to the wrong customer, your commission rate is going down. So you may waste too much trying to make a sale. And this would go towards sales team as well. But
Yeah, honestly, yeah, the real estate won't get the commission, but the company themselves, the company who has hired these real estate agents, not only are your real estate agents being misguided and not being able to reap any of the benefits of becoming a real estate agent, but it's also going to negatively impact the revenue within your own firm, right? So it's like a chain reaction, you know.
yeah, so your lights may be turned out. No, can't pay the light bill, you're a real
I
estate
have
agent.
certainly seen that before, where someone was working for somebody and they was like, "Oh, they didn't pay the internet." I'm like, "Oh man, that's going to be hard functioning today without the internet."
So now what does Agile, or should I say the Kanban framework, do? So we're going to go through that really quick. They implemented a Kanban to track leads, new lead, contacted, serious buyers, closed deal. So this process is more of a pull push method. Let's pull qualified clients or customers. Let's push them through this pipeline. So contacted, serious buyer. Once you figure out if they're a serious buyer by having those conversations, once you know that they're a serious buyer, you can close the deal because they're ready to purchase, instead of just reaching out to everyone and you're not getting the conversion that you need.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
let you go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to point out one of the other benefits, or what I like about Kanban, as you mentioned, the pull push system, is that with Kanban, it allows you to really be able to analyze the workflows that your teams are using, right? And when you're able to clearly identify or see the workflows that your teams are using, it allows you to adjust, right? It allows you to identify which part of the workflows are having roadblocks or bottlenecks or impediments, right? So when you look at it, when you have it, and the Kanban board gives you the flexibility to be really specific if you want with each part of that workflow, right? So with this example here, you can check and you can see, okay, so in this part of the workflow, perhaps contacting these leads, we have an accumulation here, right? We have a large quantity of issues accumulating in this particular column, not any of the other columns, but we see a large accumulation here, and allows you to specifically now focus in on that column. So now you can identify or work to identify ways to improve in that particular area of the workflow. Had you not had a system that created that visual and more transparency, it makes it much more challenging to recognize which areas of the workflow are causing delays. Even if you use some type of I don't know, maybe like a mural
CRM,
board where you've
CRM,
created the workflow.
like they use,
But
yeah,
even if,
CRM.
yeah, or something, right? Anything that you want to, you can create workflows in many ways, but even if you just created the workflow, right? but it's not a living artifact, I guess you could say, right? So you can't actually see how things are flowing through. You've designed the workflow, you know where things are supposed to go, but it doesn't allow you to actually be able to see live timing on where these delays and roadblocks or anything that's being held up where it is. So that's one of the benefits of the Kanban is that it allows you to see things visually, creates more transparency, and allows you to tackle right away and make improvements in your workflow.
And so let's talk about how did they do that, right? Agents only focus on most promising buyers. So they had a criteria that they met. So they checked off all of those boxes inside of a task. We call them user stories. You could call them whatever you want, but you need to have a description of what you're looking for before it starts
Mhm.
moving through that pipeline that Pia
Yeah.
was talking about, or that workflow. So weekly stand-ups to eliminate redundant effort. So if something was not working, why are you continuously doing it? So we
Mhm.
want to make sure that we have weekly check-ins to talk about what went well, what we could do better, and what is not working. It's not working. So
Mhm.
what can we improve on? Then we have action items that come out of that. So maybe something worked 1 out of 10 times. Maybe something worked better for one real estate agent, but didn't work the same for another. Maybe we need to talk about what was similar to the clients that they were approaching, and let's talk about what we can create to make it better. So that's
Yeah.
what we do, and that's what we coach on. So the result that came out of that with the real estate agency was more homes sold with less wasted time, increasing agent efficiency by 30%. 30%
Mhm.
is crazy because you hit 30% in the stock market, you just won for the day. Get out of the market.
Mhm.
So when you're trading options, but this is a way that you can track your progress, you can eliminate waste, and you can make sure that you are directing your efforts towards the right people, person, clients, whatever the case may be, so you can close deal faster and make sure that you
Yeah.
are not wasting money if you are an
Yeah.
agency.
And also, too, really quickly, one other thing that Damo just mentioned is that the framework allows you to have, once again, these agenda-based meetings, right? These meetings or events were specifically designed to address certain things to ensure that you do not overlook them. And they are specifically designed to make sure they have the right people on the calls, right? So you don't want to just have maybe upper management, or if you're a smaller business, just the owners of the business discussing it, because they're oftentimes not the only ones that are hands on, right? So you want to make sure that every member that is a part of the process is on the calls, a part of the conversations, giving their feedback, their experiences, and then their recommendations for action items or ways to improve. And that is one of the other things that I want to make sure that we all are clear on, is that these events allow the opportunity for everyone to be a part of that improvement process.
Correct. And now we have another company, small business, that we will discuss. And I like this: social media, what everyone is doing right now. So, a social media marketing team creating content faster. Wow. How do you do that?
Mhm.
Because, you may work with an agency before and they say, oh, you have a project and it's going to take a month for us to finish this one video, or 2 weeks to finish this video. And it's only a minute long. And then you're like, well, when I get the video, I don't like the video. Can you go back and change? So that lingers over to another week, another 2 weeks. Now, before that 1 minute video is released, you don't need it anymore, right? So it's not relevant to what you originally recorded, or even a 2 week period. It does
Yeah,
not matter. You have to be agile, especially with marketing and being able to direct the audience to what you're trying to present to them. So let's talk about
yeah.
use case. Go ahead, Peter. You're going to say something?
No, excuse me. No, I was just agreeing with you. That was like a perfect example, especially when you are a social media company. We already know, you have plans and things that you want to go ahead and showcase. It could be an event. It could be like something you want someone to sign up for by a certain time. And if you're not marketing prior to the deadline or prior to that event, then obviously it's going to be no use to you. So you want to make sure that you're doing it quickly. So as you said, if you wait a week and then you realize you don't like it, the event is probably 2 weeks from now, and now you've missed the whole opportunity to market. So
So let's
definitely
talk.
when it comes to social media.
Yeah, so let's talk about a social media agency struggling with missed deadlines. We just talked about the deadlines. So they switched to Scrum, assign clear roles: product owner, Scrum master, content team creates graphics, videos, and captions. Review team ensures quality before posting. This is very important, right? So in software we do this, but you can do this in many different things, as having a QA column on your Scrum board. You want to review things, test things, and make sure that it's hitting the way that you want it to hit as far as the audience goes. So you may want to do a pre-release or a beta release on a video, just a teaser to see how many people watch the video, look at the thumbnails, look at the amount of views that you get, and then you could go into, okay, I have some traction, let's release the next video. But before all that happens, all of them sit in the QA section, as far as, let me look at it, make sure there's no glitching, the time, the words, or there's no breaking in the words, everything is clear as far as audio, because you might have to go back and do it. So before you are able to push that into, we call it a release branch in software, but into the release, which could be a bunch of different videos, instead of releasing one video at once, you can schedule that release. You can schedule the teaser, you can schedule the main video, you can schedule the ad, you can schedule the post, you can schedule all of that in one release and get that feedback from the customers. So the result, instead of last minute scrambles, they delivered campaigns 2 times faster with fewer mistakes. So fewer mistakes is very important, especially when you're marketing. You don't want to release something and everybody, oh, that was trash.
Yeah. And you know why it was also fewer mistakes? Because there's a great chance that they implemented the Scrum framework. They were able to first make sure that they were 100% clear on the requirements. There was no uncertainty or ambiguity, right? And then also they likely had a review to make sure that everyone agreed. If it was for their own business, then they agreed that this is what they wanted to put out. Or if they were providing a service to a client, they were able to display it and review it with the client to ensure that this is what they wanted. But without having those refinement sessions to ensure the requirements are understood, without having that opportunity to review it or provide a demonstration, then it leaves a lot of space for errors. It leaves a lot of space for uncertainty, right? And doing things, I wouldn't say incorrectly, but certainly not in alignment with what the client wants, which now requires rework, also requires delays, also wastes money. You've allocated these resources. It's like another chain reaction, which ultimately is going to delay the delivery. And now you're gonna now also results in missed deadlines.
Yeah. And shout out to my friend Alan. I see him. He posted team building, target audience, sample size, and quality. Good stuff. And this is very important in agile, right? In companies and business, small or large companies, they pay a lot of money for that, because you can have a team that is performing well, but when that morale goes down because they don't feel like their voices are heard, the quality of the product or the service will go down as well, because they're tired of not being heard. And some of those bottlenecks that they've been screaming that they need to fix, they're not going to go, they're not going to get done in a smaller sense. And once they don't become done, all of those things, think about if you keep dropping objects down your drain, eventually that pipe is going to be clogged. And now you have a flood in your sink. So that's what we eliminate, that waste, eliminate all of that the useless information and the useless time, and make sure that you are going for it always. Now we have about 6 minutes, so we're going to try to get through some of these other scenarios. So fitness coaching. Let's talk about training. Here you're into training, into the gym like myself. I'm not
I only train myself.
but This can benefit coaches as well. So a personal trainer launches a 12-week fitness challenge, but midway members say they are struggling with meal prep. So that may be something they did not include into the 12 weeks. But now that they're complaining, like, I need to have my meals scheduled, I don't know what to eat, my calorie count, all of that. And now what you can do, the next steps forward. Instead of waiting until the next program cycle, they quickly adapt, add easy meal plans based on participant feedback, introduce shorter 15-minute workouts for busy clients, offer a live Q&A session for immediate support. That is agile at its finest.
Yep. Yep. And what they did was they obviously heard the complaints or the requests or the concerns, and then they asked a series of questions to best narrow it down, right? So after having those discussions with their client, they were able to determine what type of workouts, what the time frame would be most suitable for them, and then obviously being able to find out what they would need as far as like what type of meals they would have, what they like to eat, right? Because you want to make sure that you're providing with things that they like that are healthy. So it allowed him to or her to make those adjustments based on conversations during a requirements gathering.
So what was the result of doing this? We're going to talk about that next. So more members complete the challenge and signups increased by 40%. The last increase was 30. This is 40. And we're going to get to some statistics at the end to show you what we can do for companies over a 4-year span. And it's incredible.
And
implement agile.
Yeah. And the reason why the sales went up, which it may be obvious, is because why? The trainer was able to deliver more value, right? So not only did they get more value for the interaction with the trainer, but I'm pretty sure the client was super grateful or appreciative that the trainer was able to adjust to their needs, right? So the trainer heard the client's complaints, and the client was able to get what they needed right away.
Correct. Now let's get into the difference between Kanban and Scrum on a deeper level. So Kanban, a visual workflow management system that helps teams track tasks and progress. So Pia already talked about this. And I say the same, it's pull and push. So when you pull a certain item, you push it through the workflow. But if it is held up, you can identify why it's being held up immediately. Scrum is more of a structured framework that uses fixed length iterations, sprints we call them, to deliver value incrementally. So let's think you could go from 1 to 4 week sprints. And inside of those sprints, we have different ceremonies that happen to check in on different things that are happening inside of the commitments that we've made. So we may have a planning session that we commit to X amount of work.
Well, you should.
Now, yeah, we should. We commit to that work. We all agree on, like, we're going to do this. We're going to make sure it happens. We have the criteria of what success means to us. And now we go do the work. And there's some roles that you have to have defined in order to progress that way in Scrum. So product owner, Scrum master, and development team. That could be software. That could be marketing. That could be real estate. That could be construction. It could be a lot of different types of businesses or industries that use Scrum, but Scrum may not be the right fit. So Kanban may be a better fit for some companies. And we teach that.
Yeah. So Scrum basically is provides more structure, right? Both of them you would plan, both of them you would work on based on priorities. However, as Damo said, the Kanban is just continuous, right? So they would continue to go. Not saying they don't have any deadlines, you will still have deadlines, but Scrum, the deadlines are more specific, they're more they're highlighted more because you're delivering at whatever agreed time that is, whether it's 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, you're expected to have something to tangible or whatever it is, something to be delivered to the client.
Correct. And we have some other things, how we separate Kanban and Scrum, but we're not going to get into that today. we'll reach out to you if you want to learn more about Kanban and Scrum.
Or let us know if you
Yeah.
want to, find out more about it. We can do that.
So now let's look at some case studies. So small business marketing agency, Kanban. The problem was the agency had too many tasks in progress, leading to missed deadlines. Solution: implemented Kanban and set WIP limits, work in progress. And this is very important, work in progress. So those are the items that are said to be in progress while you are working in that iteration or that set time using Kanban. So moving forward, and improve task prioritization, increase on time project delivery by 40%. Another crazy statistic. Case study number 2, e-commerce startup. They implemented Scrum. The problem was they needed to develop a new product page but lacked a structured workflow. Solution: adopted Scrum with 2-week sprints, clear priorities, and daily stand-ups. The result: launched the page in 50% less time than estimated. 50% less time is, you don't really know how important it is to get ahead of things, right? And you were not expecting it to be 50% less time, but because you follow the agile mindset and the Scrum framework, you were able to cut your time down by 50%. Imagine how much money you made because of cutting that time down.
Yeah. So there's 2 things on those that I want to highlight. So one is a work in progress. So it's definitely related to what I had briefly mentioned earlier about being able to pay attention within your workflow on items that are basically being built up, right? That are being added to that particular column in the workflow, right? So it allows that transparency. So if you have a work in progress or you have a limit set to 10 issues, it won't allow you to bring any more into that particular column, right? That identifies a certain part of the workflow before you guys address it. All right. So that's one of the benefits of the Kanban. Although it is ongoing workflow, it does allow you to stop. It does highlight, and then it allows you to recognize, wait a minute, there's a part here where we can't proceed. Why? Right. And then the other part with the with Scrum, it allowed them to build onto whatever it is the client wanted, right? So you incrementally build um, in a prioritized fashion, meaning that the client gets a chance to see the benefits of the product right away, right? Because you guys are putting the most prioritized, the most important items first, and then you're adding on to it. So it's like they're seeing this beautiful thing just come to life, right? Whatever it is that they wanted you to do, they're seeing it come to life more and more and more, and they can utilize it as you're moving along. They don't have to wait until the end.
I like how you put that. I like that, Pierre. So
That's
let's
beautiful.
go to our statistics. So companies that adopt agile practices with Holiday Systems Inc. have experienced significant improvements in key performance metrics. Below are year-over-year trends from 2020 to 2024. So I want you guys to pay really close attention to year 1 to year 4. So at least 15% growth in that first year, and over time, 60% revenue growth over 4 years, right? Now, return on investment, 10 to 55% return on investment. 1,200 down to 500 in customer acquisition costs. So this means the amount of ads, the amount of money spent on trying to get in front of customers and get customers, that goes down because you are directing your energy towards what you need to rather than what you think you need to based off of data. And now one of the best stats that I'm so proud of is 70 to 95% customer satisfaction over 4-year time. So this means that majority of your customers are happy with your product, service, or system that you have in place as far as feedback loops, taking their feedback into consideration in all your products that you are servicing them and adjusting to those things to make sure that they are happy because they are the number one
Priority.
yeah,
That's
priority.
me.
Yeah. So
Yeah. You know, I also briefly, I know we're mentioning statistics and data. So one of the other highlights, and I know companies are always focused on metrics, right? Um, but I also want to put emphasis on some of the benefits of Scrum and the tools that they use, like Jira or Azure DevOps. It does allow you to actually track metrics that help the team recognize where they are, recognize their improvement, or recognize areas where they can improve so they can make sure they're delivering faster, delivering more value at a rate that helps your company overall improve as well. So, and that's those pretty much come hand in hand. So the metrics pretty much come with the use of the Scrum and Kanban framework. Metrics like velocity, which we'll go into another time, burn down, all these things help you identify the team and their progress and work.
So we are here to help companies do all of this and make sure that you are servicing your customers better and servicing yourself better to make you better as a company. Now, how are we going to pull all of this together? So not only coaching, but we do have a
Excuse me.
software that we use that we will be giving you if you do decide to work with us, right? And inside of this software is great. It's automated marketing, appointment scheduling, lead generation and CRM, sales and payment processing, and social media and ad management. So we're trying to take all of your problems from coaching to the software and make it better for you. Make sure that you have everything that you need and direct you into being not only a small business, but growing to be a corporation. That's
Mhm.
our goal, and to help as many companies as possible. How do you get in touch with us? So we have a few different ways. You could get in touch with us by email. You can contact us by phone. And also, you can visit our website and our social media as well. So these are our handles on all of those different items. As far as the phone number is 252-675-5868. You can text, you can call. The website is www.holidaysinc.com. And the social media is HS Inc. Consulting. So HS underscore INC underscore consulting. And the YouTube channel is Holidays Inc. Holiday Systems Inc. on YouTube. And you'll see many different resources from mentorships to products and services that we offer as well. So I know we're way over time. So Pia, is there anything that you want to add before we end the call?
No, but I didn't get a chance to actually formally introduce myself. I was having some technical difficulties in the beginning, but my name is Pia Rowlick, and I'm the director of Agile Transformation. I do have experience in a number of different industries: consulting, coaching, fintech, hardware, sales, and then other technology-based industries. I should say companies. I know I've worked in a variety of different industries, but yeah, other tech companies. So reach out to us if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to assist.
Yeah, and that's all we have for tonight. Join us again in 2 weeks because we work in sprints.
That's
And
right.
we'll have another product, service, and info session to let you guys know how you can be better as a company or as individuals. Thank you
Yep.
guys.
Thank you. Bye.